What's going on, guys? Afflicted Gamer here, back with another Division video. So it is Friday, May 5th, which means the vendors have reset, and I will go from safe house to safe house and DZ checkpoint to checkpoint, finding the best items for sale this week in the Division. So if the video is helpful in any way, please drop it a like, and also consider subscribing to the channel if you are new for more Division content, as I do cover the vendors every week. On top of that, you can follow me on Twitter at AfflictedGamer, Facebook.com/AfflictedGamer, and the stream times for me to be live here on YouTube are at the end of the video. Okay, now down here in the hub at the special blueprints vendor, if I already own a blueprint, it will not appear in the list. So double check this vendor, but it will be for this vendor only. Other than that, every other place and item will be the same as it will be for me and you. So first up, we've got a Super 90 blueprint. If you are in needs of a shotgun, classic M700 Carbon. So if anybody missed the sniper last week, you can go ahead and pick it up this week. Then we've got some firearms, knee pads, a stamina backpack, and finally a compensator. Nothing too special there. Alright, let's head over to the exotics. I will also leave the timestamps in the description, except for these items here, because anybody could take a look at the exotics. So first up, Liberator, 18% enemy armor damage with deadly, focused, and responsive. I would get rid of focused for sure, but not too bad. Cassidy, 300 stagger, 144k base damage. Don't forget, your base damage will differ possibly from mine. It all depends on where your firearms number is at. Determined, self-preserved, and boomstick. Pass. Pecan, 11% to damage to targets out of cover with ferocious, fierce, and pecan. Not too bad for a skill build. I'd probably get rid of fierce and put something else in that slot. Centurion, proficient, expert, historian. 162 headshot damage, proficient, vicious, and history repeats. Not that great. Burst fire MP5. It's not terrible for those of you that like the burst fire. Classic AK, sustained, deadly, competent. Not too bad for a skill build again. Super 90, unforgiving, commanding, and swift. Pass. That's too bad. Refreshed. You know what? I'm going to let you guys go ahead and scroll through the gear as usual, but I will skim over it quickly just in case you are in need of just one particular item, and they do have it here to complete a build. But other than that, you guys can decide what you want here. Firearms mod, nothing special. Extended mag. Okay, the extended mag is actually pretty decent if you don't already own the blueprint. 110% magazine size, 4% critical hit damage, and 4.8% rate of fire. That's not too bad. The suppressor isn't too bad as well, but honestly I don't think I'd spend 200 Phoenix credits on it. 18% critical hit damage, 5% optimal range, which you would want headshot damage, 2.5% crit hit chance, and that is that. It's not terrible, but I don't think I would spend 200 credits on it. One will drop most likely from the open world bosses. Okay, let's move on. Okay, if you make your way upstairs to the armory at the advanced weaponry vendor, he's got an MP5, 21% crit hit chance with brutal, commanding, and deadly. Reroll off commanding, and you've got yourself a nice MP5 for regular credits. I'll take it. Model 700 Carbon, 158% headshot damage with intense, accurate, and elevated. Anybody running a skill build, you might want to pick this up. M60, 11% damage to targets out of cover. That's a little bit low, but it has destructive, deadly, and meticulous on it. On top of that, here we go, Omega Rifle Suppressor. Pick this one up, 18% headshot damage, 4% critical hit damage, 2.5% crit hit chance with reduced threat. I actually already grabbed one myself. So there we go. That's at the armory. Okay, so upstairs at the base of operations, the weapons vendor, for those of you running skill builds, there's a classic RPK-74 here. I point this out because a lot of skill build players are running LMGs, and honestly the RPK isn't that bad. 12% damage to targets out of cover with competent, talented, and vicious. Given that you would meet the electronics requirements and firearms requirements for competent and talented, I would take vicious out of there and honestly put in something like brutal, given that it's in the free slots. So just something to think about. On top of that, the gear vendor has a Tenacious Mask, 1260 stamina, all resistance, and blind death resistance. if you want to keep the stamina number where it is, I would get rid of all resistance, but if not, and you don't have a decent Tenacious Mask, there's one here for sale at the base.
See you later.
If you make your way over to the Meat Locker safe house, he has a pretty decent MK5 scope with a 15 times zoom, 5.5% headshot damage, 4% critical hit damage, and 2.5% critical hit chance. Yes, all of those numbers could be a little bit higher, but honestly, the fact that we got headshot damage, crit chance, all on one scope, and it's 15 times zoom. Those of you that love your snipers, I would pick one of these up, like so.
My best sale of the day.
If you make your way over to the Autumn's Hope safe house, she has a pair of Savage Gloves. Now, for those of you that like to run your shotgun, then these are here. The firearms number is pretty low, but you know, you could reroll pistol damage for crit chance, or if you are running Colonel Bliss's holster and you want to get rid of the shotgun damage, you could do that as well. So, thought I would point them out. This is over at Autumn's Hope. If you make your way over to the Madison Stand safe house, he has a Relentless backpack for sale with health as the major attribute, burn resistance as the minor. So anybody running a skill build, honestly, this is a very, very helpful backpack for sure. One that I use with my tactician build. Now, these do drop quite often in the open world, so it's not a absolute must-have, but you know what? If you don't want to wait and you want to have one of these, I would pick this one up.
I'll be here if you change your mind.
At the West 42nd Street DZ checkpoint, that's it for all of the safe houses. She does have a PP19, 22.5% crit hit chance with Dominant, Unforgiving, and Hurried. Obviously, reroll off Dominant for something like Brutal, Deadly, or Destructive. But the PP19 is still a very good SMG. On top of that, a Reckless chest piece, which I've noticed people are starting to use a little bit more again. 5% enemy armor damage, 9% EDR, and 55% ammo capacity. So, not too bad.
Think about buying something next time.
At the West 46th Street DZ checkpoint, for those of you, again, a fan of LMG's military RPK-74 with 13% damage to targets out of cover, Unforgiving, Capable, and Deadly are on it. And it's pretty versatile because if you're running a skill build, you can get rid of Capable and put something else in its place, or a DPS build, same thing. You could either keep Capable or get rid of it. So, thought I would point that out. If you make your way over to the East 34th Street DZ checkpoint, for those of you that are still a fan of the classic M1A, 164% headshot damage with Destructive, Toxic, and Commanding. You could obviously re-roll off Commanding given that it's in the free slot, put anything else in there that you so choose. On top of that, there is a Rehabilitated Mask. It's not the greatest, but health on kill and damage to elites are a pretty nice pairing for solo players, so you could get rid of the 1175 terrible firearms number and either make that a higher firearms number or swap it into stamina and electronics, either or. And finally, we have a prototype performance mod with 5% support station healing speed. Anybody running a build like Reclaimer, that is here for sale. At the East 40th Street DZ checkpoint, there is yet again another Reckless chest piece, pretty decent one actually. 1120 electronics, that part is terrible, but over 16,000 health on kill, and 53% ammo capacity. So you could obviously get rid of the 1120 electronics, bump that up, or put it into a different slot, and that's a pretty decent Reckless chest piece.
That's fine. Someone else will want this.
Over at the East 46th Street DZ checkpoint, he has a pretty decent refreshed mask, 1260 firearms, 4% health on kill, and 9% damage to elites. If you don't want the health on kill, you could obviously reroll that for something else, or keep it and reroll the firearms number into a different slot. Overall, pretty decent mask.
What, you think you don't need this?
Up at the Park Ave DZ checkpoint, he's got a few decent items for sale. There's a 93R here. Anybody that still is on the hunt for one of those sidearms. Black Market AK-74 with 23% enemy armor damage. Swift, self-preserved, and predatory. Obviously, you could reroll off Swift for something else. But anybody that is running a skill build and needs to get any portion of their health back, or just the solo players, you know what, this is a good PvE assault rifle. Super 90 with accurate, determined, and sustained. Again, you can get rid of determined for something else. 329 stagger on it. Model 700 Carbon, 165% headshot damage with predatory, harmful, and elevated. I'm a huge fan of predatory. I think it is very, very helpful. I like harmful as well, and it's up to you if you want to keep elevated or not. Finally, we have an Infantry MG5. Love this LMG. 12% damage to targets out of cover. Sustained, ferocious, and determined. Again, more leaning towards a skill build, but then again, solo play, if you don't meet the requirements for ferocious, you could get rid of that and put something else in its place. Not the greatest, but not the worst. Okay, and for our final stop of the week, yep, kind of a depressing week. I'm really sorry. I even came all the way up here to the DZ09 safe house, which is just gear that you guys can scroll through. That is it for this week. I don't know if Massive was playing a little bit of a joke on us or what, but that's it for this week. I'm really sorry, but anyways, there were a few pretty decent attachments, a few things that I did pick up myself, so, you know, hopefully this video, regardless, still was helpful and for sure did save a lot of you a lot of time. So anyways, once again, if you did enjoy, if this was helpful, please drop the video a like. Subscribe to the channel if you are new for more Division content like this. Like I said, I cover the weekly vendor resets every single week. Stream times are at the end of the video. Follow me on Twitter at Afflicted Gamer. Leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will see you guys very soon in the next video.